51-year-old Mujem John Fongen has been instituted and inducted as new pastor of Diche Parish in Widikum by the Presbyterial Secretary for Batibo, the Reverend Acha Gerald. This on Sunday, March 27, 2022, during a special service attended by hundreds of Christians, a college of other pastors drawn from Meta, Batibo, Widikum and beyond, including the administration of the subdivision.
It was a wonderful day. The feelings were good. The attendance was good. Especially I had people who have come from my former station in their numbers to express the love they had for each other. That is a wonderful sign for me. And the induction in Diche is like taking another step in the ministry, because all my life I've been with that. So crossing to Batibu, also to meet other people and also work with them. For the time being, we've been working together and working very well.
As read in his biography, Reverend Mujem John was born on March 3, 1971 in Ngwokwong village, Mbengwi, and began evangelizing in 2001. Throughout his pastoral ministry, he had worked only in the Meta Presbytery, not until June 2021 that he was for the first time transferred out of Meta Presbytery to Batibo Presbytery, precisely Diche Parish in Widikum.
It is a wonderful experience, but with different challenges. You know, when I was living in Widikum, I was happy that we could erect a church house that was at almost completion, but I've also come here to have that challenge of another church house that was only in pillar, and we have to build it and roof it. So it's a big challenge for us. Additional responsibility here is that this parish has a primary school which we run under the congregation, and also that the number of congregations we have here are a bit more than those that were handling the former parish and far apart. So it makes it maybe a bit difficult, but with God everything is possible.
Drawing his lesson from the Gospel of John chapter 4, verse 23 to 24, the officiating minister centered his message of the day on hypocrisy.
The central theme of the message as we address to the Christian community of Diche today was that they should be true worshippers, because we are living at a time when there's a lot of hypocritical worship. People appear to be Christians in church on Sunday. You see them in their uniforms and other attire. But if you see what their character and their behavior is out of the church, in the quarters, and even sometimes in church, it calls for a lot of concern. So how can you be a Christian, but out of the church, or even sometimes in church, your attitude, your manner of speaking, your way of doing things doesn't show that you are a Christian. So you are simply a hypocrite. Based on Jesus' call when he spoke to the Samaritan woman in John 4:23 to 24, which was a passage for reflection today, I was inspired to challenge and call on the Christians to be true worshippers so that we can worship God in spirit and in truth.
To better guide the newly inducted pastor on how to go about his pastoral ministry in his new place of service, the Presbyterial Secretary had this to say.
To the newly inducted pastor, the message is clear as inspired from Scripture today. Let he himself be a true worshipper, because we pastors cannot call Christians to be true worshippers when we ourselves are not true worshippers. So he himself has to set an example to the Christian community here in Diche Parish by being himself a true worshipper, worshiping God and serving God in spirit and in truth. In that way, he will make a good example for the Christians who will be convinced when he brings them the gospel, calling them to a true Christian life, because they will have seen the example in him and they will be able to emulate.
As earlier on said, the induction service was also attended by the administration of Widikum subdivision led by its divisional officer, Ivo Chiamungwa, who used the opportunity to preach the message of peace, encouraging all who've picked up arms against the state to lay them down so that life in Widikum returns to where it was before the advent of the crisis. In the midst of the ongoing Anglophone crisis, people have their perceptions about certain areas. It is for this reason that we wanted to know the reality of the situation on the ground in Batibo and Widikum as at now.
I think in Batibo Parish, where I come from, there's a regain of consciousness, especially as to what it means to worship God. And because some people could hide under the canopy of the ongoing war and insecurity and so on, not to be able to carry out their Christian responsibilities. The reality, I would say, is that there are evidences of conflict. Almost every week we have gunshots at times in Batibo, and sometimes it's very difficult to know who is shooting the gun. And so when you get the sound of the gun, it tells you that there is still war going on. However, we want to be thankful to God that no matter the odds, quite some people have braved it. Some people who had escaped, some have taken the courage to come back, but I would like to say that a lot of people have not yet returned, particularly to Batibo, where I am resident. However, we are there on the ground, and we keep praying that through God's intervention, someday there may be a solution somehow to this situation.
From 2016 to 2022 now, you look at the line now, it don't better. Now so movement, it be freely. You know, to get you that fear the first time you want work as small, so minute to show you gone. The big bag will hang a lemon, so it also put a damage charger at least. Even the military they said don't call because the boys and two they can't attack this season to don't call small.
It shows anyway they pick away there for outside, may not ever get double thought for come back for home. If you want come major, they come straight.
No, major is calm. All places they don't be calm. And with the prayer, say may God lead we and lead them to make them member back to come back home. That meter we know the manage.
According to our findings, the Batibo Presbytery had been crumbling in terms of spiritual, material, and financial output, not until the Synod office had to make drastic changes at the helm of the leadership of the church in the presbytery. Consequently, a great improvement is being recorded. It should be noted that the induction service was a double-fold event as it also involved the first official visit of the new Presbyterial Secretary of Batibo to Diche Parish in continuation of his contact tour to acquaint himself with the presbytery.
I wish to appeal to all the Widikum sons and daughters, wherever they are, that it is a wonderful experience being here and a wonderful experience to see it that the gospel grow in their area. So wherever they are, it is to rally with us who are at home to see that we the gospel here. So because I have looked around and asked who is an elite of Widikum that we can really talk matter of Widikum, and I'm not getting. Like this place does not have elite. But I know that some are there hiding somewhere. So anyone who come across and get this message, I appeal that rally with me as a pastor to support the work here. And when we support the work here, we will succeed.
One of the major requests made by the Christians for the Synod office to consider was that of according a presbytery status to Widikum. As it stands, Widikum remains the only subdivision in Momo division that's never been accorded a full presbytery status. They are still merged under Batibo. The induction service saw the Christians showering their new pastor with gifts and ended with merriment.